Hello, this is Shar from the Real Kitchen for Real People. Today we're going to feature the famous scratch homemade German chocolate cake. Okay, so what you'll need to make this cake, I'm going to give you the cake part first, and then I'll give you the frosting, the coconut frosting later. But for the cake itself, you would need, of course, one package of that Baker's German sweet chocolate. You need one package of that. You'll need a half a cup of water. You'll need 4 eggs, 2 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, a fourth teaspoon of salt, 1 cup of butter softened, not melted, but just softened, 2 cups of sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla flavoring, and 1 cup of buttermilk. Okay, now I'm fixing to show you what I already have mixed up here. Okay, what I've done here, what you're gonna do is get you a bowl, a microwave bowl, and put your German chocolate bar into the bowl. And then you're gonna add your half a cup of water to this bowl. And then you're gonna microwave it for 1.5 minutes on high in your microwave till it's melted and creamy like this. See, that's the consistency you want. And you set that aside and let it cool. And in the meantime, you're going to come over here and we're going to add our dry ingredients. This recipe will require several bowls. So in this bowl here, I'll have my dry ingredients, and then in another bowl, I'll show you what goes in it. It's a little lengthy, but it is well worth the length. In this bowl, I'm going to sift 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and then I'm going to put my baking soda and my salt in here, and I'm just going to sift that in this bowl. And people use different kind of ways of sifting, so this is my way of sifting. Some have those little things you wind up and sift, but this is my way of sifting. Okay, and this is a cake that's really on mostly everybody's table, I believe, during the holiday, either Thanksgiving or Christmas, because it is so good and moist. Okay, get that really well in there. Okay, in this bowl, I have combined the 2 cups of sugar and the 1 cup of butter. So I'm going to mix that up until it's fluffy. Mix together in a large bowl with your mixer until this is fluffy. Okay, this is what it'll look like once you mix your butter and sugar together. Now I'm going to add my eggs, 4 eggs, and I'm going to add them one at a time and beat after each one. Okay, this is what it'll look like. This is after my first egg I've added. It's about a minute after each egg added. So now I'm going to add my other 3, one at a time, a minute mixing after each one. Now this is what your batter would look like, your butter batter. See how fluffy that is? Okay, so now it's ready for the next step, which is I'm going to scoot that over to the side for right now. And I'm going to bring back my chocolate, melted chocolate. And I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla into my chocolate and stir it into my chocolate. Okay, now I have my vanilla and I'm going to stir it up into my chocolate. That way it's mixed in, that vanilla is mixed into that really well. Okay. Okay, now that this is mixed in, I'm going to add it to my butter batter. So I'm going to blend that into the butter batter. Okay, here's the chocolate. I've poured it into the butter batter, and now I'm going to mix it, blend that in there really well. Okay, this is what your batter will look like once you add your uh, chocolate to the butter batter and mix it. It will look like this. Okay. Okay, now I will be adding my flour mixture to my chocolate mix here now. So I'm going to add the flour to this batter and then alternate it, just add a little bit at a time. Don't add it all at once, probably in three parts, and add flour and then a little of your buttermilk. And then mix, blend it, and then add flour, buttermilk. Then mix, and then your last add your flour, the finishing flour, and then the finishing of your buttermilk, and mix it really well. So I'm going to add the 1 part flour, and a little of my buttermilk, and then I'm going to blend this, and I'm going to do that 3 times. Okay, like I said, this is what your batter will look like. Kind of look like a big chocolate shake. But scrape your sides around and stir inside. Just mix it on in. Your sides, curl the sides up and mix it in. And now what you're gonna do, I'm gonna show you. This recipe requires 3 9-inch round pans, and I'm gonna show you how I grease the pan and flour them. And I do it the way my mom taught me, which is the old-fashioned way of greasing it real good and then flouring. Now you may want to use Baker's Joy or Pam and flour it, or however way you flour your cake pans, that's fine. But this is how I'm going to do my pans the way I've been taught. Okay, this is what I use. I just use that butter flavor shortening, and I'll just take that with my hands. Be sure to clean your hands real good, and just spread it around in your pan. Now this job, when my mom made it, German chocolate cake, this part of the process was always my dad's. He would always have to be responsible for greasing all the cake pans during the holidays, because my mom made all kind of cakes. This German chocolate cake, and she made a buttermilk chocolate cake, and she made a checkerboard cake, which is awesome. And I'll show you that. I think it's already on my video link. Matter of fact, the checkerboard is. But you grease your pan really good down in there. Really good. And see how that's greased. And around the edges, because when it rises, sometimes get up here on the edges of your pan. So I always like to really grease that good to ensure no sticking. So just do not like that sticky, especially around these little edges around in here. Get that right in there. And if you're using spray, spray it really well. I know a lot of people like to use Baker Joy because it has the uh, flour and the shortening in the spray. But I would just do it this whole way. Okay. And then I'm going to flour it. This pan, I'm through with this pan, and I'm going to show you the flour, and then I'll do the other two. And then we'll be ready for our batter. And this is the way you flour your pan. Just kind of circle it around till you get the edges. And I have the other pan underneath it already greased and to catch the flour from this first one. And if it's not enough, you just add more flour to there, because you most definitely want to make sure it is floured well. You want it all white in there. And you see how the other pan is underneath it to catch the loose flour. And then you do the same for all three. Okay, here's my pans. I'm completed flouring the 3 9-inch round pans. And I'm going to fill them equally with the batter, chocolate batter. Okay, now I have all 3 of my round cake pans filled with the cake batter. And I just kind of pat it under the bottom. See, I'm patting it under the bottom to make sure that they're even, or you could just drop them on the counter like that to even out the batter in your pan. So I have all 3 filled with the batter, and I'm going to put it in the oven and bake it about 30 minutes. And then when 30 minutes come, you check it and stick a toothpick or a fork or something in there to make sure that it comes out clean, and then it's done. And then we'll, in the meantime, get ready to prepare our coconut frosting. Okay, while my cakes are cooking, I'm going to prepare my coconut frosting. And these are the items that you need for your coconut frosting. Okay, here we have we're going to have 4 egg yolks. We're going to have 1 can of the 12-ounce evaporated milk. We're going to have 1½ teaspoon of vanilla, 1½ cup of sugar, and then we're going to have a package of the Angel Flake coconut, and then we're going to add also a 1.5 cups. I always use 2 cups of pecans. I get them fresh from Fancy Pecans, and so these are right fresh this month. So I'm going to chop those up, and then I'll add it all to this saucepan. The first thing you want to do is to, with a whisker, whisk your egg yolks, your milk, and your vanilla in the large saucepan. So I'm going to do that. And this is how I separate my egg yolks. You can get this little gadget from Walmart, or I got this one from Ross years ago, but it works really well in separating your yolks. And some people just separate them by hand, but I'm not that good at it, so I just use this to separate my egg yolks. Put it in there. And I know you're thinking, what do I do with the rest of these egg whites in here? What I do is just whip them up the next morning for scrambled eggs. Mix it in there and we'll have scrambled eggs, and I'll use that for that. But now that we have our 4 egg yolks in the pan, we're going to whisk it together like that. Just stir it around like that. Okay, and then we're going to add our milk and sugar. Going to add your coronation milk, a whole can, and be sure to shake it up really good before you use it, because it's been sitting in the store and it settles to the bottom. So be sure to shake it up really well. And we're going to use this whole can in the saucepan along with your vanilla and sugar. Okay, you're whisking that really well with your milk. And then we're going to add our sugar. We're going to add the 1.5 cup of sugar to this mixture and whisk, continue to whisk. Stir it up. Mix that up really well. So when you get ready to put it on the stove, it won't just be trying to cook your egg. So you have to mix that up really well. Okay, once that's all mixed up and stirred up, we're going to put this on the heat, on the stove, on medium heat, and add our butter. And then you will heat this until it's a golden brown. Okay, I added my butter in here. It's a stick, and it's really 3/4 cup of butter. Okay, so now I'm gonna get ready to put it on the stove on medium high. Okay, you're gonna mix your mixture on top of the stove on medium heat, and you're gonna mix it until your butter is melted, and then your mixture will be getting a little thicker as you stir it. So you constantly stir this because you don't want to scorch the bottom of it. See how the butter is melting? That's what you want. Make sure you can see that good. And you're mixing that until it thickens, which is about 12 to 15 minutes of stirring constantly. Your butter is already melted. Now we'll start thickening. Okay, now that it's thickened a little, not going to be real thick now, so don't cook it too long. It's just a little slightly thickened. I'm going to add my 7-ounce bag of coconut. Okay, and you're going to stir that up in there. Now, this is a reminder, this is not a cake that people are trying to watch their weight, because it is very, very rich. The icing is probably one of the key thing to this particular cake, German chocolate cake. Now, if you want to add more coconut, which I do, I add lots more coconut. It just depends on how much you want to add, but at least add 7 ounces. And then if you want to add extra, you can. And then add your chopped nuts to it. Okay, I've added my coconut and pecans, and it looks delicious. Look at that. Fantastic. Looks so good. And like I said, if you're on a diet or watching your calories or whatever, be sure to take caution when you eat this cake because it's very rich. So be sure to go strictly by your dietary meal plan. Okay, and now I'm gonna get my cake out of the oven and let them cool for about 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes in the pan. And then we'll take them out. And hopefully they don't stick. Okay? Okay, now my cakes are ready. I take them out of the oven. And I'm going to let them cool for about 10 to 15 minutes. And then I'll take them out. Okay, I've taken my cake out of the pan. This one kind of stuck here, the one that I put on the plate. You want to put one on the plate and then put the others face down on wax paper. And then I'm going to show you I'm getting ready to put my frosting on. Okay, now I'm going to get ready to put my icing on the first layer. You just take a spoon and just put it in the middle. And then you're going to spread it around until this whole layer is filled. So just keep adding, but don't add too much because you want to save quite a bit for the top and the side. So you're just putting a thin layer in the middle of each layer. So you just kind of spread it around like that. Sorry, this one kind of broke a little bit on the side, but it is still going to be delicious. You won't even notice it once it's all finished. Okay? So you just do it like that. Spread it out. Just make sure that your cake is nice and cool before you put the icing on there. You don't want to put it on there when it's hot or warm. So make sure it's probably about an hour after I took them out of the pans that I let them cool. And you just do each layer. Put the second layer on there and then put the icing in and spread it around in the middle. So I'm going to do that for each one. Now this is my last layer I'm putting on. Now when some people make their German chocolate cakes, they do just ice in the middle and the top and leave the sides open. I mean, you can do that if you prefer, because those sides are very, very challenging to icing. But I'll try to icing my sides because I like that. Icing it all the way around my cake. And it could get challenging trying to put that icing on the sides. But as you can see, it's already beautiful. And so what I'll do is I'll take the icing around the sides. I'm going to try without confusing you. So, but I'll usually take like the part that has less nuts to seal my sides like that. Let's show you like that. See, it don't have that much nuts in it, so I can actually seal the sides with it like this. See, and you just do that all the way around, just a little bit at a time as you ice it. If you want the icing on the side, like I said, you could have it just like this, or you can fill the sides up with icing. And see, I've icing mine on the side, so you kind of have to pat it because it's real funny on these sides. Do a little bit, little areas at a time, and it'll eventually get on there. And all these little pecans that fall off, you just eat them. What's your blue ribbon plus gold ribbon? It's the best. #1 cake out there to me. So you just put it on there like that. And it's definitely a crowd pleaser. For sure. Now you can also make it if you have somebody that don't like coconut or allergic to coconut. You can just use the cake part and change the icing and just have a chocolate icing. You can do that too because the cake is still good. But this is my favorite. And you see where I had that messed up one, so you can't see it because there's so much icing. Just blend it on in and just try to keep pushing it up until it sets. Some of it will try to fall, the icing off the cake, but you just kind of have to keep working with it. It's patient. Have to have patience for this cake. But believe me, it's well worth it. A homemade scratch one is. I haven't tried a box. I don't know what they taste like. If it's not scratch German chocolate, I'll pass on it. But here you go. This is your homemade scratch German chocolate cake for the holiday. Now, if you don't get to make it for Thanksgiving, I'm sorry, I'm a little slow on getting it out there to you. You can always have it at Christmas, or really you can have it anytime, but you can always have it at Christmas time. And also, I wanted to let you know, if you don't have buttermilk in the house, because I know a lot of times you don't have buttermilk, you can make your own buttermilk. Just use your favorite milk, just your whatever milk you drink. Just pour a cup of that, of your favorite milk, and then add like a tablespoon of vinegar to that and let it set until it starts thickening. So you can use that if you don't have buttermilk on hand. And I have used that before. Or you can use lemon juice. Some people use lemon juice. But I try to use buttermilk though, because it just gives it that moist taste. And that is that beautiful German chocolate cake. Now I'm not gonna cut it until Thanksgiving Day, but I wanted to get it out there for you so you can see how it looks and get your ingredients ready and have you some good comfortable shoes on because it's a lot of skin. So, without any further ado, I hope everybody have a happy holiday, happy Thanksgiving, and look back and reflect on things that you're thankful for, and share them with your family as you celebrate a year of Thanksgiving. Okay, if you like this video, please let me know by commenting below. And if you like it, give me that thumbs up. And also share it with someone else that may be love cooking or trying to learn to cook. And don't forget to subscribe. That way you can get your recipes automatic. You don't have to be trying to search for it. You get them automatically as I post them. Okay, I'd like to wish everybody a blessed Thanksgiving, and I hope you enjoy this video. God bless.